Hey everyone, this is Elijah Fafi from PMN News. Today I am fortunate to be joined by Toks Fale. Did you want to introduce yourself, a quick introduction of who you are and your background and your role at the dojo, please?
Yes, Toks Fale, known by the wrestling name the Rogue General, Bad Luck Fale. I work in Japan, a professional wrestler. Used to play rugby, went to school in Japan, got my degree in Japan. But I came from Mangri, went to De La Salle College, played rugby there, and was lucky enough to get a scholarship to go to Japan, and that's where everything started. And after starting wrestling, been wrestling for the last 10 years, and in the last 3 years, I've been trying to create the same opportunity I had to give to the youth of South Auckland by opening up a gym here, which creates a pathway to Japan through wrestling, boxing, kickboxing, and hopefully other means.
And for those who don't know what the Fale Dojo is, are you able to just expand on what you guys offer as a facility, and maybe a bit of history of why you started it, and especially in South Auckland?
Fale Dojo is mainly a wrestling school, professional wrestling school. What we do is we take students and we train them in the Japanese style of training, meaning it's 90% discipline, the Japanese discipline style, which is very similar to the Polynesian way of discipline, if you know what that involves. But yeah, so we train them. That's our main is wrestling. But apart from that, we run boxing and kickboxing and also boot camps. The reason why I started it is to give opportunities to other kids who can't do what everybody else is doing in New Zealand. It was just a different way of finding another life or pathway to what you want to do. For example, I took the rugby path, but I got as far as I could, which wasn't very far, but I found the wrestling was more for me. So I wanted to create the same opportunity for anyone who is looking for a different pathway to get out of poverty. And that's why I've started it, and it's open to anyone. Yeah.
And with everything that's been going on around the world, and especially here in New Zealand with the COVID-19, how has that affected the Fale Dojo, and how have you guys had to operate over the last 7-8 weeks or so?
We're mostly made up of international students at the moment, mainly because my school or the dojo is the only other way people can get to Japan through wrestling. So we have mostly international students, where I'm hoping to get more locals. But as a start, we've created a brand big enough that worldwide students are coming in. But what's happened is ever since this lockdown, half our uh, half the year, the rest of our year has been pretty much cancelled. So we're expecting 14 to 20 students coming in June. Now we only have one, so he's a local kid. But from now until next year, we're quite unsure of how we're going to operate and keep going. But in a way that forces us to concentrate more on the local aspects of our business, which is the boxing and the kickboxing. And we've just started on Monday, which 3 days ago, and we're really trying to hit the boxing and kickboxing and weight loss boot camps, incorporating the Japanese discipline. And I think it'll pick up because it's a different type of training. Usually it's mostly wrestling type of training, which is a lot of body weight and that kind of stuff.
If we could just sidetrack a bit to, you talked about the Japanese style, and because I know you came through the system with all was it the Young Lions in New Japan? And
yes.
So what was things that you learned from there that you want to kind of bring over to New Zealand with the Fale Dojo?
Mainly the discipline side of things, right? I'm not sure if everybody have seen or heard about the Japanese culture, the way they train. Doesn't matter what they do, is they perfection is what they want to achieve. So they do things over and over and over until they get it right, which involves a lot of discipline. So I learned that through going through the Young Lion system in Japan. I wish I had gone through that before I played rugby, because if I had that, my attitude towards the trainings and playing rugby would have been different. So that's why I wanted to bring that aspect. In wrestling, anybody can learn how to wrestle, but if they don't know the discipline side of things, they will not uh, get to a certain level in the professional world. And I think that applies to any other sport or work or career. A lot of people get to become pros because they've learned a certain way of being disciplined and sacrificing. And I think the way I learned through the Japanese way is a good way of teaching our people and the young people, because it's different from what everybody always does. So that's my goal. Yeah.
And now that guys are back reopening this week, it's great to hear you guys have reopened now that we're in level 2. What restrictions in terms of health and safety have you guys had to take in order to reopen?
Yeah, like every other gym, we have to limit our numbers. Um, Everybody has to be apart, stay away from each other a certain distance. Our boxing and kickboxing pad work has to be a certain way now. So it's very difficult, because if our limited numbers, we have to turn people away when they get there. So it's very difficult because we're struggling, but at the same time, it's a weird rule, because they have weird rules, because you look at other businesses and other places where they allow a lot more people and a lot more close to each other, and they have restrictions just for gyms a certain way. So it doesn't make sense, but we try and survive and get through it.
And finally, now you guys have reopened, are you guys looking to take an intake of people to join the training facility? And if so, how can people join the Fale Dojo?
Yes, we are. We're still open to taking people for the intake. The best way to find the information is through faledojo.com, faledojo.com, which is very easy. All the timetables and the ways of applying or registering for membership is all on there.
Well, thank you so much for your time. That was Toks Fale. Thank you so much for your time. It's great to hear that you guys have reopened during level 2, and hopefully more people, especially here in South Auckland, can join your facility.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.